One.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Welcome back to our virtual expo. Our next workshop is on how to do business with the City of Miramar. And we have with us today Dr. Karen E. Hollis of our Business and Inclusion Diversity Program. I just want to introduce her and read a little bit about Dr. Hollis because she's a great administrator here and she has been providing inclusion and diversity at the City of Miramar. Dr. Karen E. Hollis, Esquire, is a decisive and results focused professional offering 40 years of experience in law, business, and community enterprise, with the last 20 years focused on business recruitment, procurement, contract administration, project management, and the coordination of diverse local. Forgive me, I didn't know I was on mute. My apologies. Let me reintroduce Dr. Karen Hollis. She's our bid administrator, which is business inclusion and diversity here at the City of Miramar. She's here to discuss with us today how to do business with the City of Miramar. Dr. Karen Hollis, Esquire, is a decisive and results-focused professional offering 40 years of experience in law, business, and community enterprise, with the last 20 years focused on small business recruitment, procurement, contact administration, project management, and coordinating diverse local and business community stakeholders, conflict management resolution, and business inclusion and diversity. Since joining the City of Miramar, Dr. Hollis has developed codes, ordinances, policies, and procedures to introduce diversity and ensure more inclusion. The City of Miramar Business Inclusion and Diversity has been able to improve equity, create opportunity, and advance sustainability for local small minority and disadvantaged businesses. BID implements race neutral business growth and development initiatives to ensure inclusion for all and race conscious initiatives to eradicate business discriminatory practices. Here today to present how to do business with the City of Miramar is Dr. Karen E. Hollis, Esquire. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much. What an amazing, warm introduction, Tara. I really appreciate that. This afternoon, we have a treat for you. And we thank you also very much for understanding the necessity of capitalizing on these types of opportunities that the City of Miramar makes available for businesses, especially in our ability to collaborate with our community stakeholders and other institutions that are also implementing and advancing measures and training and other ways to help small minority and disadvantaged businesses grow. And so you are definitely in for a treat. I know the platform, I've seen the ones that have gone before me, and I know that you have definitely been empowered with information. And so, what we want to do, in addition to helping you to understand a little more about the Chamber and Miami-Dade County Public Schools and Broward County, it's imperative for us to make sure that you also understand that your city, the City of Miramar, has amazing opportunities and programs and services that are being advanced to do the very same things. Our goal is very simple, to ensure that we advance measures to help small businesses grow. And so I too have come with a presentation, and I'd like to start sharing that with you now so that we can give you more concrete information. Okay, the first page, of course, is I am Karen Hollis. You've already been introduced to me, so let's go before that. And so what you'll see here, let's talk a little bit about the Business Inclusion and Diversity Program. This is the program that we refer to eloquently as BID. The goal is to ensure and to make sure that we try to advance measures to help businesses be able to bid more on the solicitations that are being released with the city. And so that's where the acronym comes from. But the bid program itself was established in 2018 with the goal to effectively develop, administer, and implement the disparity study findings and recommendations. The city of Miramar itself had a disparity study done, and bid is the evidence of the city's goal to eradicate business discrimination and to amplify diversity and inclusion efforts. And so how did we come to this point? If you want to really understand the background, at the bottom is a diagram which shows that this all began when the business community, came to the city leaders and made sure that they were made aware that they did not feel as if there were measures and programs and services in place to ensure their inclusion. And so that's how it all began. So once the city leaders heard about that, the city responded. And the reason that I want to point this out is because it's not always the case. We work and live and have the ability to be a part of an amazing city. The city of Miramar, and I feel that way, not only am I employed by the city, but the city of Miramar has been the place in my home for the last 25 years. I believe it's been about 25. And so when you have a city that cares enough, a small enough city to first implement a disparity study to respond to the call of their residents and their businesses, local businesses, that's a huge measure, not to mention an investment that a city makes in this process. And so when the results came back that we could do a little more as a city to ensure more inclusion, the city took it to the next step, which is to bring me on board, and we implemented the Business Inclusion and Diversity Program. Now, why? Because the goal with this program and the background behind it is to ensure that we did measures to eradicate any and all discrimination as it results in businesses and their desire to do business with the city of Miramar. And so we cannot start a webinar on how to do business with the city of Miramar without making sure that you fully understand the extent to which the city continues to go to make sure that the small businesses and all businesses have an opportunity to do business with the city. Okay, so let's continue. How are we doing this? I'm glad you asked. The BID Act, which is the most recent initiative that's been advanced by the city of Miramar, it was in April of 2021, just 2 months ago, the City Commission has added the BID Act to the city code. And the BID Act itself is designed to do three things primarily: to provide small minority and disadvantaged businesses the opportunity to participate in all aspects of city contracting and purchasing programs. The second thing is to prohibit discrimination against any person or business in the pursuit of these opportunities. And third is to implement programs and services through BID and initiatives that fosters more inclusion and diversity on city projects. And so the BID Act itself is a tool that the city has advanced to ensure more contracting opportunities are available to businesses that choose to do so in the city of Miramar. And it's really simple. The goals and objectives are to uphold the highest standard of inclusion, equal opportunity, and non-discriminatory practices by extending assistance to all firms, again, that desire to do business with the city. And so that is basically a summation of the background for BID. So let's talk a little bit about who we are as a program initiative. Now, BID designs change management strategies with the goal to educate, connect, and grow local and minority businesses. BID ensures that the businesses are afforded access to participate in the city's procurement process. And BID strives to eradicate discriminatory barriers by developing programs to advance the vision and goals of the City of Miramar. Now, that's who and what the program is about. Now, how is it exactly that we do that? We do that in a number of ways through monitoring and compliance. That's a huge, all of these measures that you see that are outlined here are in accordance with the disparity studies recommendations. At the conclusion of the findings, the study also provides recommendations on what the City of Miramar can and should do to advance and ensure that businesses can do business with the City of Miramar. And so the program has developed measures in accordance with those recommendations to be able to foster that inclusion. And monitoring and compliance has been seen in the past as a barrier for the smaller and micro businesses that are not as tech savvy. And so what we've done here at the City of Miramar, which I'm most proud of, is we've introduced a technologically advanced B2G Now diversity software, which will assist small minority and micro businesses in being able to have a 21st century approach to monitoring and compliance. The B2G Now is one of the latest and most advanced ways in which organizations are using to ensure and to give tools to these businesses that can help. And with this tool and the City of Miramar having engaged in securing this tool, it was a perfect way for us to ensure that we're eradicating that as a barrier. And so now the micro businesses that are successful in securing contracts with the city, those contracts will be monitored by the program, the bid program, and all of those business owners will now have an efficient, technologically advanced tool wherein which they will be able to not only report adequately their inclusion of minority businesses on their projects, but they will also have assistance of ensuring that the assistance that they need in any aspect of that process will be able, we as a city are now able and better prepared to provide. And so that's what monitoring and compliance, and that's one of the recommendations of which the City of Miramar has definitely risen to the occasion like never before to ensure that that is no longer a barrier that a business will ever have to encounter in the City of Miramar. We also engage in outreach education. That was a huge part of the disparity study and one of the first recommendations that was given that a city should do and our city should do to ensure and foster more inclusion. And so the way in which we've done that is through various, which you will see later in the presentation, is through various measures. But outreach education is a wonderful way in which we also ensure that we're trying to educate, connect, and grow businesses. That contractor database is another way that we try to make sure and we allow opportunities for businesses to connect with us by going on and giving us their information, ensuring that we not only know that they exist as a business in the City of Miramar, but they are fully prepared, engaged, and what the courts call ready, willing, and able to be able to respond to the procurement solicitations that are released, extending opportunities for businesses to be able to come on board and do business with the city. And so we have a contractor database, which we'll go into a little more in the presentation, that allows and affords all businesses that wants to have more access into the city to be able to sign on to that contractor database, enter their business information, one or few lines to ensure that we not only know you exist, but you're available and ready to do business with us. And then we have minority data collection. That was one of the recommendations. It is imperative that cities continue to collect the data to ensure a number of things. We collect data to make sure and to enhance our performance on these programs. We need to know also from the community and the end user, which is you, the business owner, what assistance you are in need of. When developing these programs and services, It's not about any particular leader, myself, or any director, or anyone at the city making a determination as to what we believe a business will need to grow. There are myriad of information and practices and procedures that a business can take to grow, none of which are set in place for any particular type. And so what we want to do is make sure that we speak to the end user, which is the business, and allow them opportunities to explain to us as a city how they believe and what they would like to see for us to include in these programs to ensure that we're advancing measures that they will find personally to be able to find help their businesses grow. And you'll see that in a couple of the webinars that we're going to talk about a little later. The way that we collect that data is through surveys. We collect summer surveys. We reach out to the business community. We're often asking their opinion. We need them to provide us with the feedback. And with that feedback, it allows leadership as well as myself to have a better understanding of whether or not the initiatives we're advancing are working, to see whether or not the businesses are actually finding it value in the programs and the services that we're advancing, and to definitely make sure that the data reflects that the 7% and the percentage of minority participation that was concluded in the disparity study is increasing, which means that the recommendations from the study that we've implemented are in fact effective. Okay, so that's a little bit about who we are and what we do. BID is seeking to educate, connect, and grow local and minority businesses. Okay, let's take a little bit a better, closer look at the educate aspect. So we have something that we've implemented called the BID Academy. Now, this is BID's platform that they seek to foster job creation through a more educated workforce. So what is it that we seek to educate businesses about? We are making sure that businesses are educated on the programs, not only the programs, on the policies that the city will be advancing, on the codes and the updates that the cities continue to implement. We need to educate and make sure, because we've learned through a lot of the data we collected through the surveys, that a lot of smaller or micro and local businesses are not as familiar with the procurement process as we had hoped. And so with the collection of that data, we were able to see that so many of our local and micro businesses had no clue as to some of the basic terminologies and the basic procedures and requirements that are in place from a procurement standpoint that they will have to adhere to when and if they desire to do work and to secure contracting opportunities with the city. And so we being BID, we continue to develop workshops and skill building ways in which we can educate the firms about this. We also use the BID Academy to educate internal and staff about what is diversity and inclusion. We've had webinars to educate staff on the origins of diversity and inclusion. So the BID Academy has been a wonderful element that we've added to the program to ensure that the education we're advancing externally as well as internally are beneficial to advance and promote the intentions of the disparity study, are those that are able to make sure that the integrity of the programs and the services that we're advancing are able to be adhered to. And the way that we do that is with advancing information, correct information in a timely fashion so that businesses can prepare adequately. That's one of the things that the disparity study concluded and advised as a recommendation as well. And that has been seen as a barrier for businesses, adequate and efficient knowledge in a timely fashion. And so one of the things that we do in educating businesses, it's to make sure we help them to understand and we're advancing information in a timely fashion so that the micro businesses that do not have a myriad of staff and a host of individuals that work for them. And as many of you may, which may be on this podcast may know, a lot of the micro businesses, they are the business. They're the accountant for the business. They're the ones that they do the typing for the business. Any and every aspect of the business, we have some micro businesses that are small enough that they do it all. And our definition of a micro business that we've adopted here at the City of Miramar are those independent consultants that have experience and have the capability to secure contracting opportunities with the city, and they branch themselves off from working for agencies and corporations and prime contractors, and they've elected to open and become business owners themselves. But they are the business, and it becomes taxing for an individual that's not only administering the service of a business, but have to do all of the administrative components as well. And so we adhere to in our education approach to make sure that we provide as much information as we can, as many tools as we can to these individual businesses and individual consultants that we refer to as micro businesses, to empower them to be able to focus more of their time on providing the services and the skills that they have, those being engineers, accountants, whatever their expertise is. But to the extent that our tools like the software, the B2G Now software, and the other components that we can do to position them to be able to focus less on the administrative components of the business, operating the business, which are important, and more on the service aspect of once they're qualified and able to successfully secure a contract with the city, they can have the time and spend the time needed to ensure that they perform on those services above and beyond the call of duty. So that's a critical part of what we do in the approach to educate. Another component being with the economic and business development department, we're looking to educate on have a more educated workforce. With the COVID pandemic, the data that's been across the United States of America is that so many students have elected not to go to college. And so instead, many of them have decided to open businesses. They've decided to implement and try to identify and secure a trade. And so we partner with other organizations that are like the Broward Up program, that the EBD department, we called it, the Economic and Business Development Department, has partnered with to ensure that these students and our local residents have an ability to be able to have access to free college education that can help them, especially those that have elected not to go to college, but instead desires to be able to secure a trade or to take some classes so that they can get a job and be of more value financially to their families. So educate is a huge part of the initiative for the BID program. Next, connect. When seeking to do business with the City of Miramar, and not just the City of Miramar, any other agency, people do business with people they know. And so connecting, and that is one of the things that the Chamber was able to point out earlier in the presentations. Relationship building to connect businesses with community stakeholders is another huge factor of the BID program initiatives. And so we have workshops that are called BID Connect, where we believe knowledge is power. And we host these webinars. We create flyers and we offer these webinars. And this is a huge opportunity for businesses that want to do business with the City of Miramar to be able to join on to these webinars, give the information that's being administered by these webinars. Most of these webinars promote in advance and allow our community stakeholders to come in, partner with BID, and to let the local businesses know about contracting opportunities, not only with the City of Miramar, but a lot of our community partners that come and host Bid Connect workshops and webinars with the BID program. They bring their agencies and their cities and their county upcoming contracting opportunities. This is huge for businesses because the truth of the matter is there are no guarantees in any one of our programs about an ability for a firm to be able to secure a contracting opportunities. So one of the things that's imperative for BID, as well as the City of Miramar, is to make sure we give you and provide businesses with a host of opportunities in which they can position their businesses to be able to contract, to seek contracts, to know timely when contracts are going to be released, to know when other agencies and what it takes and other agencies are requiring if you have to be registered or certified with them. We have partnered with a myriad of our community stakeholders to let them know how it is that you get to become certified with your agencies. We've had webinars in Bid Connect to help them know not only how to become certified with those agencies, but then what is expected of you once you become certified with their agencies. So Bid Connect has been a wonderful tool that BID uses to connect our businesses, to collect those who care enough to join those webinars to have a better understanding about how to build relationships, not only with the City of Miramar and the leaders, and I am proud to say that we have a leadership in the City of Miramar. They have an open door policy. And with that open door policies, really, businesses, anyone and everyone that desires to meet with a city leader and the City of Miramar, 9 times out of 10, if you request, it will be answered, and the answer will be yes. They will meet with you. They are very, very prominent about doing that and having an open door policies. But not only do we want you to meet and get to know the leadership of the City of Miramar to see how to do business, but we want you to know about our other community stakeholders. We have a valuable tool and we have valuable resources and partners that also have other opportunities that they use to help businesses grow. So that's what Bid Connect is all about. Next, growth. All of these measures help businesses grow, but we have something that we do on webinars that help businesses be able to get skills and abilities that are critical for business growth. Project scope review. One of the things that the disparity study concluded was that so many businesses, and the data we collected when we did our surveys is that a lot of businesses, unfortunately, heck, never of micro and the smaller businesses, they have struggled trying to understand and read the scopes of works that are released with some of the procurement solicitations. And so with these types of webinars, skill building webinars, we have experts and community stakeholders that partner with us and come aboard and partner with BID to ensure that we help explain and educate and the businesses know how to do and how to read a project scope to be able to identify if they are able to offer services on any particular solicitation that's released. Preparing the responses to the solicitation timely. That is not a barrier. When a solicitation is released at the City of Miramar that says, for example, that the requirement to respond is on any particular date, those guidelines are in place for a reason to ensure fairness and transparency. And the procurement department has a fiduciary duty to ensure that they are adhered to. And so what we try to do in advance is to have skill building type workshops where in which we can educate and help businesses to understand the importance of those deadlines, to help businesses know how to prepare themselves and their responses and a description of their businesses in advance. We partner with various experts that literally help businesses know how to tell their story, because that's essentially what you're doing when you're responding to a solicitation. The City of Miramar wants to know not only that you're experienced, but you're capable and qualified to be able to respond. And so we've had experts in these types of virtual series that have come on board and helped. We partner other small businesses that offer these services. So not only are it's wonderful to be able to contract and do business with the government agencies and the cities and the counties, but we also use these workshops in terms of growth to help small businesses know how to collaborate and to work and to share and to utilize their services and offer their services to one another. And so individuals that know how to do project pricing, we have those partners come on board, explain it to other businesses and offer their services. Credit repair services. We have local businesses that assist micro and small businesses that have credit repair services that they come and explain and other businesses be able to use. So this has been a great tool for BID to use to help businesses grow. Technology is a huge aspect in the 21st century when it comes to gaining access to upcoming contracting opportunities. And here you'll find 3 ways that we advance to position and help businesses know how to gain more access with the City of Miramar contracting opportunities. Now, there are 3 ways. Number 1, vendor registration. Vendor registration is step 1 in getting to position your business to be able to capitalize on contracting opportunities with the City of Miramar. Yes, I did say earlier that our leaders will meet with all businesses. Their doors are always open. And it's wonderful that they do that. However, it's nice to let myself, our directors, and city leaders know that you as a business exists. It's more important for you to let the procurement department know that you exist. It's imperative for you to let the procurement department know what goods and services you sell. It's imperative for you to let the procurement department know if you are a local or certified minority businesses, so that when those solicitations are being released, all of the contracting and the purchasing and the goods of services for the City of Miramar, as done with most agencies, go through the procurement department. And they implemented measures and tools like the vendor registration process so that you as a business can come on board, go into vendor registration, input all of your information. You will then, through that process, be letting the procurement department know, and you'll be saying, when the City of Miramar is purchasing for my goods and services, please notify me. And once you complete the vendor registration process, and someone from the procurement department notifies you of your vendor ID, you are now positioned to do business with the City of Miramar. And when and if the City of Miramar is procuring for your goods and services, you will receive an email technology directly to you, letting you know about that solicitation, forwarding you the solicitation package, inviting you an opportunity to do business with the City of Miramar. So it's huge. If you want access to gain contracting opportunities with the City of Miramar, step 1 is to become a registered vendor. We had a webinar, which we have recorded, that will walk you through that process. And for anyone that desires to have links to any of this information that I'm discussing in these webinars, just enter your name and email address into the chat box, and we will be sure to follow up and give you links so that you can become a registered vendor. Provide you with a PDF that has a step-by-step informational guide to assist you in that process. Another way to access contracting opportunities with the City of Miramar is with the BID contractor database. That's something that BID has implemented. And one of the things that we're looking to do with the database, with the BID database, we want to know any and all minority businesses that are ready, willing, and able to do and advance their services. So many prime contractors, just like Patty said with the chamber, they're often being called by prime contractors and asked, please, do you have a list of businesses? This week, well, rather last week, I was able to provide a list of certified businesses when a prime contractor reached out. The bid contractor database is the tool that we put in place so that any and all businesses can input their information, and that's our database. And when our community stakeholders, when prime contractors, when city directors that are doing internal purchasing, when anyone is looking to identify or a list of businesses, you want to make sure that your business information is in that contractor database so that when the team, the bid team and I are sending those lists out, you're included. And that's an excellent way to provide you with more access to contracting opportunities, not only with the city of Miramar, but in the Tri-County area. The next thing that we have, and we talked a little bit about before, is the B2G Now software. Now, this is a technological portal for businesses that have already been successful in securing contracts. We talked a little bit earlier about the monitoring and compliance. Once you as a business respond to the solicitation, you're successful in securing that contract. The City of Miramar through the BID Act and now the new business inclusion, the new race conscious initiatives that we're advancing, we're going to be monitoring those contracts, especially those contracts with minority participation. Our goals and our objectives are to ensure that we foster as much opportunity as possible for prime contractors to use certified minority businesses. Now, the City of Miramar itself, we are not a certifying agency, but through the BID Act, we have certifying agencies, various agencies whose certifications that we accept. The Broward County certification, CVE and SVE, for example, Miami-Dade County School Board. And so we have those types of information. Send me an email. We will always be happy to provide that information to you. But B2G Now is that system. Once you've secured a contract, every and all contractors that have minority participation, they're included in the system. And this is the technology way, the more technologically advanced way that the city is now administering contracting, compliance, and monitoring. Okay, so next, small business opportunities. We not only have opportunities for all businesses that want to do business with the city, procurement has inclusion measures that are in place to make it so that smaller and micro businesses have better chances of advancing themselves in the city's contracting opportunity. And the one that I'm always excited to tell everyone about is the Library of Consultants. We as procurement department wanting to make sure that we're advancing the most accurate and effective information to position you to have an understanding of exactly what the Library of Consultants is all about. They provided me with a presentation. And Paul, if you can open that presentation, I'd like to share it with the audience at this time, please. Okay. Here it is, utilizing the library tools. We not only want you to know that the library exists, we need you to understand a little more information about it. It has the following libraries in place. We have an architectural and engineering for the larger projects. We have a library for subcontractors. Those are for the smaller projects like the plumbing, the electrical, the landscaping, and things of that nature. We have residential and commercial contractors. Those are the three distinct libraries that the city currently have in place. These are libraries that go through the procurement process. Next slide, please, Paul. I'm so excited I'm getting ahead of the slides and telling you about that. So the libraries are made up of vendors in various disciplines and subcategories that have already been screened, evaluated, and scored through a formal procurement process such as an RFP, RFQ. And so you do all of our services. Remember, I told you the goods and services that are procured by the City of Miramar are done so through the procurement department. The libraries are no exception to this rule. And so the libraries go through a full formal procurement process. And depending on the needs of the city, the applicant and the vendors may be shortlisted or may be allowed to become members of the library. Okay, and those are businesses, once you've gone through that, a library solicitation is released by the procurement department. All of those businesses that have gone on and adhered to Paul and Dr. Hollis's and EVDs and all of the other leaderships that said, get registered as a vendor. And they get in a solicitation, you respond to that solicitation, you're successful, you're in a library. Next slide. Let me tell you what happens. Each library may have different terms. Some libraries last as long as 3 years, which means you, landscaper, if you're successful in getting to that subconsultant library, you will not have to go through a procurement process again with the City of Miramar for a period of 3 years. When and if your services are needed, what does that say to the department directors? What does that say to the individuals within the city that are looking to secure a small business, that are looking to secure and use a minority business? They will be able to look into the library that the procurement department has already vetted and be able to access and utilize that minority business. And that business, if that procurement in that library term is for 3 years, you as a business have 3 years of an opportunity and a chance to be utilized and for a contracting opportunity with the City of Miramar. And once vendors are included in these different libraries, they remain on standby basis throughout the continuing service agreements, because that's what happens at the end of the solicitation process. Those businesses enter into a continuing service agreement. There are no guarantees of work. No city or agency ever can guarantee anything, but it's a better opportunity for you and a great, most innovative way that the procurement department is using to allow more inclusion, to foster more inclusion, to make it that much easier for these micro and small businesses to be able to capitalize and be available and have more opportunities to do business with the City of Miramar. Next slide, please, Paul. And so once a project becomes available, the city reaches out to the particular vendor in the required project subcategory and solicits them directly through a semi-formal process called the request for letters of interest. The city uses this process in order to obtain the most qualified vendor for a project, as opposed to soliciting for services through a mass medium. So now the pool has been shrunk tremendously. So you're no longer competing with the entire Tri-County area for the contracting opportunity that's been available. Now the pool has been to reduce to just those businesses in your particular library. Remember, when I showed you at the beginning, there are 3 distinct libraries. The only ones that you will be competing with in the particular library are those that are in your subcategory. And that's a huge advantage. That has reduced a myriad of barriers that were addressed in our disparity study. That barriers such as the ability of micro businesses not to always have enough time and energy to continue to see and to respond to solicitations. If you're in a library, you only have to do that once, and you have an opportunity to remain in there for 3 years, thereby reducing that as a barrier for your inclusion. A lot of the libraries, the procurement department has done an amazing job to ensure that the requirements of the insurance and barriers, depending on what the services are, have been minimized and adjusted to meet the needs of the library. And so those are other barriers that have been reduced and minimized in a particular way and strategically and intentionally to ensure that we're fostering more inclusion and we're eliminating those barriers that we've learned through the data collected in our studies, the data collected in our surveys, the data collected with you willingly and regularly coming and voicing your concerns to city leaders. And we thank you for that. And we always encourage the continued participation of that. And so what we do instead, and we as a city, we continue to develop opportunities and initiatives that help in the library as one of those initiatives. Next slide, please, Paul. So, vendor registration for the City of Miramar, okay? I told you, here you see the procurement department reiterating again, is the step in the way for you to position your firm to be able to have and take advantage of ways to do business with the City of Miramar. You can register your company, and we will send the link that you can click to. This information is on the page here. And then registration, new libraries are advertised on Demand Star and in local newspapers. And so you can get free registration on Demand Star when you send us your information or put it in the link. And we will send you the link to get registered as a vendor. That step-by-step one-page PDF that I told you, it also includes information on how you're able to move forward with getting registered on Demand Star for free. Also, we did that video webinar with the 3 different technological ways that you can position your business and get access to the city. We went into detail, Paul, Najora, and myself, on exactly do we have the vendor registration application? We talked about each and every requirement, each and every tool, what the city is looking for, why and how we expect you to respond to each and every answer. Again, if you would like a copy or a link for you to be able to view that pre-recorded webinar, just enter it into the chat or send us an email. We will be more than happy to make that available to you. Next slide, please. Excellent. So I will go back to sharing my screen so that you can see the conclusion of other ways in which we have to do business. Now, along with, you got to learn a little bit about the procurement inclusion. Another thing that we're doing through bid for small business opportunities is surtax projects. So we have the Library of Consultants and upcoming surtax projects. The City of Miramar, my time has been well spent, has entered into an interlocal agreement with Broward County, and there are going to be wonderful, many opportunities that are going to be made available for small business, minority businesses, certified businesses. And if you would like to learn more about that, we have an upcoming webinar in which we have our engineering team and our procurement team. They're going to be partnering together, and they're going to be telling you and going into great detail about those projects. And I will be more than happy to send you this flyer so that you can register, come on board, learn about those projects, and prepare and position your business to be able to do more contracting opportunities with the City of Miramar. Take it away, Tara. Thank you. I hope I didn't go too much over. You know how passionate I am when talking about this stuff.
I would like to thank you for joining us, Dr. Karen Hollis.
Thank you again, and have a good afternoon.
You're welcome. You're welcome. To all my attendees here today, don't forget to check out our exhibitors hall. If you're on our platform, you should be able to click the button down at the bottom, the exhibitor hall. We have some great vendors, our partners here today, that have information that you need to thrive, grow, and just be successful in your business. For example, the Florida Small Business Development Center at the Florida Atlantic University, they're consulting businesses for free. So it's no charge to you. So if you'd like to go over to the exhibitors hall, visit their booth and gather more information in regards to consulting, feel free to do that. We also have several of our staff members on today, especially here from the Business Tax Office. If you're wishing to open a business in Miramar, you definitely want to visit the Business Tax Department. You will need an occupational license, which now is called the Business Tax Receipt. At the Business Tax Office, they're able to answer your questions and provide more information to you with regards to opening a business in Miramar. Please feel free to join our other partners in Exhibitors Hall and just gather as much information as you like. Also, share with your friends because this is a virtual platform. It's totally free. Anyone can register and log on. Like I said before, we have great presenters here. And up next, Victoria Hughes is from the Florida Women's Business Center. She'll be here to introduce Small Business Health Chat. You're sure to stick around for that presentation. It's going to be lots of fun. Thank you. Take care.